What is up, guys? Media Master Menard here today, bringing you guys another video, and today I'm going to be talking about something I've had a lot of people recently bring up and pose the question: should more developers and games be going to the free-to-play model? To be honest, I find this topic super interesting and something that I've thought about quite a bit actually with the recent success of many free-to-play games on the market. And to first discuss this topic, we really have to look into the monetization strategies that exist in the current gaming climate. So first, we have full-priced games that come complete out of the box, and they either don't have DLC or they have DLC that is added at a later date that is completely original and was really developed after the completion of the main game. For example, Witcher 3 and Far Cry are two games where the DLC is a pretty different experience from what you get in the main game. So there's also full price $60 games that have content cut out from the main game, making it feel incomplete. And this makes gamers really angry when they later try to go back in and add the cut content as DLC as a way to make a quick buck. And this includes games like Destiny and its sequel, as well as games like Final Fantasy 15 and Street Fighter 5. And yes, those two games did have content cut from them. I don't care what anybody else says. There are also fully priced games at $60 with a respectable amount of content, but they have microtransactions littered throughout. And sometimes these microtransactions even offer up a competitive advantage in games like NBA 2K or Madden Ultimate Team. And sometimes they act as a little bit of a fast forward button in games like Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Gamers tend to be very upset at this type of model because it seems like they're being nickel and dimed even after they've paid the full price of admission of $60. Another category of games are subscription-based games, which normally include MMOs like World of Warcraft or what you're actually seeing on screen right now, Final Fantasy 14 Online. I'm doing the Ancient Labyrinth raid right now. It's pretty chaotic, but I digress. These games usually aren't sold at full price, even though they do have a subscription fee, and we'll kind of talk about that later on in the video. Second to last, we have indie games, and they're games like the recently released Dead Cells or something like Hollow Knight, any type of game along those lines. They're usually cheaper experiences, and they're made by smaller development teams. And finally, we have free-to-play games, and these games usually make all of their money on microtransactions. Games like Fortnite and League of Legends have really shown that this can be an effective business model. Now that we've addressed some different types of monetization models for games in this current generation, we can better answer the question: should more games switch to the free-to-play model? Simply put, we don't know, and it depends. You have to look at it on a game-by-game basis. Games that are completely finished out of the box are usually single-player focused experiences, and they really don't have anything to gain by going free-to-play. If they were to do so, I think it would hurt the quality of the games and would probably make you pay to advance the storyline in some manner, and that just isn't good for anybody. I think looking at indie games, a similar mindset applies. It really wouldn't make sense for them to go free-to-play, and there really wouldn't be any logical way for them to implement it. As for games that are cutting content, I think they're in a pretty interesting spot in this debate or situation. They're essentially in the same spot as completed games that are adding unique DLC, except for the fact that they're trying to make a quick buck, as I mentioned earlier. Going free to play wouldn't really help the gamer or the studio in this situation either. I think the only thing that they can really do is taking the time to make a more complete gaming experience overall, and that would lead to better long-term profits and not just short-term profits, as well as happier customers who are willing to buy the extra DLC for the game now. Now to discuss the games that are full price and implement microtransactions at the same time, and I think this is really where compelling arguments start to form for games becoming free to play. When your game becomes free to play, there are a ton of more people who can access this game and who will be willing to try the game out. A $60 barrier to entry will keep a lot of people from playing your game versus if it was free. And if that large barrier to entry isn't there, that means you have a much larger audience that has access to a studio's microtransaction offerings. I'm not really sure what the numbers work out like exactly, but I do know Epic Games has been killing it with this model, and Fortnite is making them about $300 million a month in revenue. I know Fortnite is somewhat of an outlier, but there are other free-to-play games like League of Legends and Warframes that have been turning very large profits doing this as well. Usually these games sell cosmetic items that make your character look cooler or add emotes and other items that don't affect the core gameplay. This is important because any pay-to-win mechanics will lead to an imbalanced game, unhappy fan base, and then finally lower player counts, which means less profit for the developers. I think sports games could also really benefit from this model. We all know from iteration to iteration, sports games don't change very much. And so what if games like FIFA, Madden, and 2K went completely free to play and got rid of all their pay to win mechanics? And I think they could start by actually just making it one continuous game. So instead of releasing a yearly installment of the series, just create one game and keep on improving on it and adding more stuff. As we've seen, it's a pretty effective way to keep a fan base. With their new, strictly cosmetic microtransaction system, they could add customizable jerseys, fields, stadiums, and whatever else you can think of without jeopardizing the integrity of the gameplay. I know this is pretty unlikely and not gonna happen, let's be honest, but I think it would help gamers see companies like EA in a more positive light. Let's take a look at MMOs because in my opinion they're also in a very intriguing, delicate position. Many people are afraid to invest in an MMO because of their complex systems and mechanics, and a lot of people put the blame on the subscription fee. I think the genre as a whole could really benefit from either doing away with the initial purchase of the game and making it a free download but still having a subscription fee, or they could actually just get rid of the subscription fee altogether. They could really offset these costs with more customization options like cool mounts or costumes that are only available in microtransactions. I actually don't think it's too big of a deal if MMOs stay with their subscription fee model, as most gamers aren't too upset with it and they feel like it goes and is reinvested into the game. I know this is somewhat of a controversial take, as many people hate microtransactions no matter what form they come in, but I personally think that some cases going free to play could actually really benefit all parties involved. As long as competitive balance is always kept in mind and predatory loot box gambling mechanics are avoided, I think it could be very good for the future of certain genres of gaming. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think going free to play will help certain games reach a wider audience? Would it give gamers more opportunities to see what's out there? And most importantly, do you think it's viable for developers, and can they make a profit using this model? Let me know the answer to all those questions down in the comments below. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be bringing you guys more movies, TV, video game, and anime content. I'm going to leave a link to my Twitter in the description below so you can find out when I post a new video. And until then, this is Media Master Menard, signing off.